An Uptilt, officially called a strong up before ultimate, is a tilt attack that can be performed by any character by holding the control stick lightly upward and pressing the attack button while on the ground. It can be difficult to pull off an Uptilt quickly, as if the player tilts too fast, they'll either jump or do an up smash instead. Turning off tap jump can help avoid the former problem, or the player can do some other action and hold up on the control stick before it ends. This part doesn't really apply to melee, but we can do better than this definition. Uptilts are quite powerful in the melee metagame as combo extenders and even starters, as they usually have knockback angles that send straight up. That earlier part about Uptilt being difficult can be quite true, even at the highest level. Precisely timing your Uptilt while moving around the stage without getting a misinput is a skill, to say the least. A well-timed Uptilt can be a solid active hitbox for your opponent to avoid. While most Uptilts are quite bad against true crouch cancel, they can have mixed utility versus ASDI down, and they can be used for stuffing your opponent's movement, pressuring shields, anti-airing, and keeping your opponent in disadvantage while also setting up for your full combos. I wanted to rank the different Uptilts in the melee metagame. While tier lists rank things on a binary, we're going to try our best to just kind of deal with that. So some of the things we will use to determine which ones are better are frame data, damage and knockback angles, how safe and useful they are in neutral, and how safe and useful they are in the punish game. And of course, this is an opinion, and there are plenty of ways to rank these Uptilts. So let's get into it. The Ganon tier. Ganon Uptilt is almost exclusively a hard read on recoveries or a rest punish. It is way too slow to be used in most situations in competitive play, coming in at a whopping, this many frames. However, it can be an important source of disrespect on your opponents, and it does good damage. Slow Wave. These Uptilts are just a little too laggy. They are both approaching above 40 frames in animation length, making them longer than some smash attacks. However, Bowser takes the cake in terms of end lag. While they do good damage and could potentially set up for a tech chaser combo, they are inconsistent combo starters that are not worth the trade-off in speed, making them extremely susceptible to whiff punishing. But they do have a little bit of sass when they do it, so that's cool. Disjoint but weird. A disjointed Uptilt can be quite nice, as it can provide the standard benefit of an Uptilt while limiting the risk of getting counterattacked. However, both of these Uptilts are just outclassed by other disjoints. Ices have these weird multi-hitting Uptilts, and they can serve as a potential anti-air, and you could use it to set up grabs. We don't see it as often as you'd think, due to Ice Climber's up air being so solid, but it's an interesting move, for sure. Its multi-hit aspect can leave it particularly vulnerable to DI, CC, and ASDI down, though. Meanwhile, Roy Uptilt is very hard to hit the good hit with. The strong hit is good, but more often than not you're going to get the wet noodle, which is awful for anti-airing and can even be negative on hit. Low range launchers. I feel like there's just nothing special about these Uptilts. Maybe I'm wrong. They don't have amazing frame data, and they just lack range compared to some of the others. Peach's is rarely seen due to how laggy it can be, on top of it being worse than her down tilt that also pops up. Yoshi's is also seen less, maybe because Yoshi F-tilt also sends up. Ness is just rarely seen, let alone his Uptilt. The Ness Uptilt hitbox is funny though, because most of his character model becomes an Uptilt, but I digress. Disjoint but better. These moves are slow on startup, but have a decent hitbox damage and end lag. Young Lynx has slightly less range and damage, so ultimately it will be worse than Lynx. Both of these moves can be useful anti-airs due to the disjoint, and can do some combo stuff at the mid percents when the move starts to send into tumble. Donkey Kong's also has a good amount of range to it, and it can lead to follow-ups versus a solid amount of the cast. But June, Donkey Kong's Uptilt isn't a sword. Well, I raise you this. Could a non-sword do this? Alright, fine, it's a stretch. I just wanted fun categories. Moving on. Axe Kick in neutral tier. This tier is weird because it depends on how valuable you think neutral is. Samus and Falcon both have these axe kicks that control a lot of space and can set up for edgeguard. They're valuable spacing tools. They have strength against CC and can begin knocking out of ASDI down quite early. They can also be used as edgeguarding tools as they contest ledge, but kind of like Falco down tilt, these up tilts serve a different function than most others. Samus up tilt is a pretty common poke, used along with her other tilts. We rarely see Falcon Uptilt being used because he's dashing around everywhere, but it's not a bad move really. It's definitely worse than Samus's, it's a bit slower. Because these uptilts are valuable pokes, I value them highly over the tilts that barely work, but not quite as high as some of these other tilts. Low end lag launchers, the Pokemon tier. These uptilts start to become spammable now, with all 3 of these coming in at 23 frames of end lag, and a considerable amount of active frames. You usually will not be able to whiff punish these at most ranges, which is huge. Jigglypuff capitalizes on this by throwing it out to catch dashes, sometimes multiple in a row. The Chews can do the same, but because they don't have a rest to link into it, it ends up being seen less. These moves can be decent mix-ups of the low mid percents when you can throw them out next to somebody's shield as a cross-up or after an aerial mix-up. The only downside is the startup, which is slightly worse than some of the better up tilts. Disjointed but good tier. Mewtwo. While Mewtwo's tail mostly serves as a way to get clipped in your own movement, it has a second forgotten purpose: amazing range. Mewtwo's tilts are all quite strong because they involve some usage of this thingy, and Uptilt is no exception. Its ability to poke and juggle characters through plat is reminiscent of another character, which we may cover in a bit. But yes, this can string into itself easily and covers most of the platform. Game & Watch Uptilt. This move has like no end lag, it's disjointed, it's incredibly active, and it leads to a full combo. No, you didn't hear me wrong. All of these things are true about the move. It does have a 9-frame startup, but the lack of end lag makes it truly impossible to whiff punish. It can chain into itself and other normals with ease as well. While this tilt makes no sense compared to all the other up tilts we've discussed, it does make sense when you realize Game & Watch was coded in like 5 minutes. Quick up tilts. All the Marios have pretty good confirms with their up tilt. They're incredibly quick at frame 4 with a large amount of active frames, and low enough end lag that you can make it tricky to whiff punish. I think Mario's is the best as it hits in front of him and consistently sends straight up. Luigi hits behind him, and while the first frame of Doc's up tilt sends upward, the rest is going to send away. Kirby up tilt. In relation to Kirby's kit, this is an amazing move, and it has been across games. Unfortunately for Kirby, no up tilt will ever compare to his original 64 Eldritch Horror of a move. Still, in Melee, it's quick and enables multiple up tilts to string together, or a back air combo at slightly higher percents. This move is almost impossible to whiff punish, with the entire animation lasting only 23 frames. Puff up tilt end lag with Mario up tilt startup. Broken. Kirby's up tilt is so good on a character that lacks everything that a meta strategy as Kirby is just spamming roll and up tilt. It's all you can hope for. Now we have the Marth Sheik tier. First, Marth up tilt. This disjointed behemoth is the king of hand waves. Marth up tilt has so many different angles and they're all useful. It can be used in aerial pressure strings to set up combos, and the combos are pretty incredible. It can even change into itself multiple times with the stats to start it off at incredibly low percents. The Mario Bros aren't knocking down with their up tilts at 20%, that's for sure. Marth up tilt is the king of extending platform combos, as it can cover the entire platform, and eventually lets Marth chain all of his aerials together. Ledge dash up tilt from Marth can make up for what he lacks in Galint in range. It's funny that all the top tiers are occupying the higher end of this tier list, then again, it kind of makes sense. Sheik up tilt. Sheik up tilt is wild. I would say it's one of the most unique up tilts in the game. One use is at the low percents, where it combos into her grab. The second hit of up tilt is plus on shield, which can make Sheik and the scrap even more threatening to deal with. While the first hit can be CC'd and shield grab, it can be difficult execution-wise. Another use is an anti-air under platforms, where she can safely poke against most characters by standing under a plat and spamming up tilt. Having an option that's quite good against shield wrap can mean everything for a character. At mid percents, Sheik up tilt is a strong juggling and combo extension tool, setting up for more aerials and offstage play. Sheik up tilt also extends her hitbox way upward, while putting out a hitbox, allowing for some fun ASDI shenanigans, if quick enough. In combination with Sheik's distortion, she can become untargetable into putting out one of the best moves in the game within frames. As a melee player, this move is absolute hell to deal with, but as a Sheik player, she needs it, she'd be bad without it, or something. Finally, we have the Spaceys up tilt. In the end, it was hard to pick which one of these came first, but I went with my gut and picked Falco's. My tier list has valued range a lot, so I feel like it's only fair to give Falco the win. These are clone characters, so their up tilts look eerily similar. At first glance, identical. However, Falco has slightly more range than Fox's, and Fox has a hitbox that does 12% and can lead to an outright kill. This is another reason Fox can destroy Puff. These moves are amazing though. They assist the Spaceys in their pressure game on shield, both spaced in front of shield and behind the shield when doing cross-ups. Tools like this are good against a character like Falcon, who loves to stomp out of shield. They're spammable as hell in neutral, and can be quite difficult to whiff punish at certain ranges due to their low end lag. They can be used as an anti-air versus shield drop. They can also start knocking characters down quite early. Versus characters with low range on their shield grabs, it can even be safe on shield when spaced. For combos, Spacey Uptilts are the perfect extender. They send up and allow the Spaceys to chain their entire kits together. They don't have the disjoint of Marth Uptilt, and they don't have the raw safety of Sheik Uptilt, but god dang are they good at most things. Anyway, that's my Uptilt tier list, everyone. Hope you liked it, and let me know what you think about Uptilts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions on things, as I think there's a lot of room for debate as to who has the best tilts in this game. But this was a fun little project to do, and I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you. Peace. Oh yeah, like, follow, and subscribe. Do that thing.